Well, I got a forbidden error from OBS when I was firing up the machinery here, saying that it wouldn't go through. So let's see if this actually went active or not. If I am in fact live, you can skip ahead a minute, and I'll be with you in actual started. But right now, I'm messing around with this to see if we're okay. Actual started. Hey, great. Okay, right, looks like we're okay. So sometimes we say these things kind of blindly. So let's see. You got that there. That looks good there. Okay, great. So I'll go through my intro, and we'll get started here, and we'll get to work here for an hour or so. My name is Phil Kearney. What's up? I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And we are creating an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition in the Eberron campaign setting called Crystals of Mabar. It's for characters 7th or 8th level, like 4 8th level characters, or 5 7th level characters. Take your pick. You're fighting undead in the Carnwood of Karnath on the continent of Corvair. Just doing a hot second here. Okay, we're done. So let me go ahead and click on things over. Here to here to here to here, and blip, there we go. All right, so yeah, hey, new subscribers, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate people thinking this stuff is cool. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's the entire playlist of all episodes. Here's my Discord community. Jump in, hang out. Patreon, thanks for support. Here's a bunch of books I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have free previews, just like this adventure will when you have them. Check them out. If you think any of them are cool, they add to your game, please consider purchasing to encourage more shenanigans in the future. So, current shenanigans. This is the adventure, Crystals of Mabar. This is just one of the appendix pages about furthering the adventure. So it's a 16 by 9 format. For those that aren't familiar already, if you full screen the video right now and have your device held horizontally, you'll see that this fills the screen. It's a 12-point font on a 17 by 17 inches wide, 11 inches tall. So you could technically print this out on legal paper. If you were to hold it horizontally, vertically, it won't work right now. But in the future, when it publishes as a PDF, each one of these columns is, it's 10 by 17. So each one of these is 10 inches tall, 5.5 inches wide. So this also fits in the 16 by 9 format, one column at a time. So it makes it really easy to view on digital devices. It's not necessarily as printer friendly because of the size of the document. You could certainly print it out on 17 by 11 pages if you wanted to. But the assumption is that it's going to be a digital environment. So let's get ourselves situated here. We are finishing up. Hey, Karen, it's good to see you. We might finish this piece today, but this is the army of undead that we've been creating here for the past couple weeks, past 2-3 weeks maybe? Jesus. Now we spent on this piece specifically, and when we finish that, here's all the other artifacts. The Eye of Mabar, which we have on the cover, is an artifact that if you use a ritual, it creates a manifest zone to the plane that the artifact is aligned to. So the Eye of Mabar, it's just basically an iron beach ball with the Mabar symbol carved into it. You can see it's highlighted here. But this is essentially what you're looking at. So it's just like an adamantine ball that you can hold and perform the ritual with to create a manifest zone around you. And if you perform it long enough, it permanizes. So super cool. And each one of these artifacts have a ritual that go with them that will create a manifest zone corresponding to the plane that they were created in. Like the Carillon of Dalcor creates a manifest zone to Dalcor, the region of dreams. A Carillon is basically like a wind organ, like a windpipe organ, except it's bells instead of pipes. So it's a percussion instrument instead of a wind instrument, for instance. Yeah, so each one of these has would have a ritual that goes with it. We don't go into specifics about what that ritual is. This is just expanding, like the manifest in the Eye of Mabar. The Crystals of Mabar is about creating a manifest zone, and then the necromancers that are creating that manifest zone to Mabar are exploiting the resources that can be created inside of the manifest zone for them to progress their own power and build their own army, which the team is going to shut down. But that opens the door of, hey, there was this eye this artifact that can create a manifest zone to Mabar, and then so all 13 planes of existence have their own ritual that if you were to assemble all of them, like say we're doing 8th level is the eye, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. By the time you hit 20th level, you have all 13 of the artifacts, and then you could reshape reality with all those artifacts assembled together. Reshape how all the planes work if you wanted to, for instance. So it's a cool curve for a full campaign if you wanted to run this like massive fetch quest system. You could have rival factions grabbing some of the artifacts while your team grabs others, and a third faction has access to a couple. And there's so many of them that there's a lot of stuff that you can do. So that's the idea. So the illustration, thank you, Timely Timer. The illustration that we're working on right now is a horde of undead that gets created by a Yugoloth in command. If your team doesn't shut down the crystal, this is the kind of BS that your team is going to have to deal with on the back end, which is a Yugoloth commanding a horde of undead. So I'm going to raise this guy up a little bit just to have him elevate from the rest. He's not 12 feet tall. He's just floating among the rest. Hopefully him above the rest of the troops doesn't. His head's just about in proportion with the undead that are around him at this point. So it's maybe I'll make him a little bit smaller to keep him in proportion. There, we'll do that. I don't think I'm quite. Yeah, we'll scooch him here, and then let's look at our back line here. We'll find him. He's in here somewhere. I'm looking for. There he is. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to drop him into here. And then here's our back rank here. Let's grab circle. So we're coming along really well on this particular piece. I'm just messing around with. We're going to be messing around with lighting and like fog details, and then we'll take care of the Yugoloth specifically, and then we'll be done with this piece, and we'll start moving on to all the artifacts next door. So I want this head to be a little bit smaller here, a little bit further back. We're going to conceal the Yugoloth. Karen, how are you doing? It's good to see you. So we're going to drop that out of view, and we're just going to use our smudge brush to clean this up. Glad to hear it. Foot's doing okay? Clean that up a bit. I'll grab that light in here. Drop that in here. This far back, I want the fade, the lighting to be real muted on it and faded to help reinforce the atmospheric disturbance. Like when we go through, once I'm happy with all the skellies in the background, we're gonna we'll start adding in layers of fog like this. You can see it's off here. We're gonna start building individual fog layers for each skeleton in front of them to be able to layer that properly. Boop. There we go. Bibs and bobs. Spear. Nice. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. I had plantar fasciitis a while ago. Nothing in comparison. But I wasn't sure if it was like a bone spur or something like that I would have needed surgery on as well. But luckily, no, it was just a fucked up tendon. Quote unquote, luckily. At least it wasn't invasive. So I got out easily this time. They have, hey, Honetico. Yeah, this is sometimes, hey, cool to see you, Honetico. Thanks for being on board. Yeah, sometimes these pieces take a while. And it probably wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't being so meticulous on each one. So I mean, for the size of the page, I've spent what's probably an unrealistic amount of time doing this, but yeah, it is what it is. I know that's not a critique, but it's just an observation that, yeah, this has been a very intense piece. And I'm okay with that. There's not a lot of art that we're going to actually have to create for this adventure, because so much of the art that actually fills the pages is the actual maps that we've already done already. So there might be like maybe a dozen or so actual like original illustrations that I need to fill the space in the pages that are open, that aren't already tokens or maps that we've created in the previous 400 some odd episodes. So it's not like in the Spelljammer book that we made. There was like 40 illustrations I had to make, and I don't think any of them took as long as this, but none of them were as intense. Had as many different assets or like different assets that were, or what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they weren't as intense in elements. That's the word I was looking at. Element. A lot of elements in this piece. Unusually amount so, but that's okay. But yeah, and because I'm doing layouts at night, this 16:9 format is a real challenge for me to be able to get right. And we're down to about a dozen pages that I need to go out of like the 102 pages in the book. There's about a dozen pages left I need to figure out how to parse out into this 16:9 format. And again, one of the main goals of the layout is to make sure that each column is a separate complete thought. Even if like a room, like in some instances, like a room might take up the entire page for us to detail with like different elements inside of that room. Each column is detailing like different parts of that room or pieces of information that are isolated that can be used separately as part of the whole. So that way you can actually like look at the adventure one column at a time and be able to stay, to not get lost in what's going on. So nice. Hey, that's awesome. Sick, gross. Unawesome. Darken up in here. But yeah, this piece is almost done, and then we'll start in on all the artifacts next door. So we are in the last stages of this piece in particular. Right now we're just layering in dudes. I mean, obviously we're working the fades. Like this one here, I'll probably end up reducing like we'll fog it over or reduce its opacity, so it has atmospheric perspective as well. Atmospheric perspective is just like we're showing the difference between this skull here and this skull here. Is the further back you get, the less detail and the less saturated the colors become, so they fade out because of atmosphere scattering the light, reducing the reflectivity of the color coming towards you, because the light itself gets dispersed by the atmosphere, hence the term atmospheric disturbance or atmospheric perspective. Ugoloth goes there. There we go. Hornetico, man, what's been going on? You still doing Mutants and Mastermind stuff, or you were playing? I think you were playing with a different game system for a while. It was like a deck builder game. I haven't touched base with you in a bit. Hey, Tyler, how you doing? Holy shit! Fucking Avengers Assemble. Grab this dude's face here, and then like that. So normally I stream Monday through Friday in the morning like this, Monday and Thursday nights, Tuesday and Friday lunch times, and then Monday and Wednesday is kind of a float. Sometimes I'll stream on Monday lunch, sometimes I'll stream on Wednesday lunch. This week's going to be a little scuttled because I won't be around tonight. I'm going to be around tomorrow night instead. So that's going to be a little atypical for Phil. Today, I won't be around for lunch either, but I believe I will be available from like 4 o'clock Seattle time till 6 o'clock to do a belated lunch episode that, let me see, there we go, good, that erased. That we'll do some bashing campaign stuff this afternoon for a couple hours, and then we'll have we'll actually be streaming. I should be able to stream tomorrow at lunch, but instead of streaming tonight, we'll be streaming tomorrow night. It's just my personal life is a little weird this week, so my schedule is off. But I wanted to make sure I put the time in because I really like the progress that we're making with the bashing campaigns. So I want to make sure, because the only time I work on the bashing campaigns is while I stream that particular book. Just like I only do artwork for this pretty much when I'm streaming it until we finish the page layouts for this book. So tonight I won't be on stream, but because my home life is a little weird this week, but I will be working on page layouts for this tonight. So hopefully I'll have another couple pages done tomorrow when we get back in for the morning, and then. Yeah, I question whether or not I'm going to be doing lunch tomorrow or not, honestly. But I will definitely be on tomorrow night. So lunch will be a little late today, but no evening stream. And then tomorrow, no lunch, but an evening stream. And then Wednesday, I will be away from lunch. Thursday night, I'll be on at night like usual. And then Friday lunch, I'll be back on as usual. It's a little bit of a weird work week. There we go. So that's my schedule for the week, and then Saturday, of course, I was streaming on Saturday morning, but I'm finding that I need the time for the mega dungeon that we're running in playtest on Saturday lunchtime. So I need to back off the Saturday morning stream so that I have a couple hours in the morning each week for me to build out and stay ahead of the team in the mega dungeon itself. That because I don't have any design time because I'm working on this on my off hours when I'm not streaming. So if I'm streaming Saturday morning, I can't make maps for the mega dungeon because my team is prowling around in my channel and I can't show them what dungeons are coming up. So I sadly need to withdraw from the Saturday morning stream for a while. I think I'll potentially, so the idea here is that once we, when we go through the mega dungeon level 3 to 10, we're almost 5th level now. So we're going to push that probably through September, assuming that I can keep people involved and interested, and we keep showing up consistently. We should get to level 10, or through level 10 to level 11 by September, and then I'm going to end the mega dungeon because it's really hard to contain characters inside of a dungeon past 10th level, realistically. So I mean, wizards already have teleport at 9th level, so it's then you get access to the etherealness and plane shift, and it's just pretty much an enclosed environment with limited degrees of mobility. Is like it quickly deteriorates into not being much of a way to confine characters. So we're going to end the mega dungeon at 10th level will be the last level that we run the mega dungeon through. And then we're going to transition to playing Mage Tower because from level 11 to 20, we'll basically play Mage Tower events, competition between characters to be able to see how well at the higher end, how well characters play. And Mage Tower is a fun little mini game anyway. So we'll run, for anyone that's interested, we'll run Mage Tower matches on my server on Saturday morning, probably like 11th level, 13th level, 17th level, 19th level, and then 20th level, probably like for a month or two, maybe run like that. And assuming that catches people's fancy and they're interested. And it'll basically be like Street Tower, so it'll be like teams of three characters per team, 2 teams. If we only have 3 people playing, I guess we could do teams of 3 to 3 to 5, and so I'll have an NPC rival team to play against the characters. And again, the goal of Mage Tower is to throw a ball through a hoop in a 100-foot arena. And so the idea there would be that you're building characters that you could then pick up and throw the ball as a weapon at the tower, and then you have people that can block or deflect or otherwise inhibit the ability to throw it. So it's a different way to approach the game, and I haven't seen anyone actually conduct Mage Tower as a combat scenario. There's a lot of conversations about Mage Tower, like on the Strixhaven Reddit and on the Strixhaven Discord, but there's not a lot of actual plays of it of any sort. So I want to take I want to take Mage Tower, and then I want to take it to the Reddit community as well as the Discord community, and offer them, hey, if you guys want to use the martial power system alongside mana, then build a 11th level character and jump into the arena. If we have 6 people that play, then it could be a 3-on-3 match, and I can be like a literal referee while players are making moves. So I think there's a lot of fun to that, and having the ball be alive and running away from everyone, I think is fun. I like the dynamic of what Mage Tower is. So I'm going to cap off the high level martial power play-testing with those with playing that game. So. And then once we do that, then we're going to shift into the mecha and the mecha book that I've been building for Spelljammer. And I'm going to grab this here like that. Cut, paste. Oh, son, you're all sorts of messed up. And I'm still thinking about the format, but I kind of want to run Storm King's Thunder as a playtest campaign, where the players are using the Storm King's flying castle as basically a low altitude Spelljammer craft as a carrier, and as also using Bastion mechanics at the same time. So it becomes like a garage workshop / carrier ship to take the characters from site to site fighting kaiju that are attacking communities. And that's the idea anyway. So it'd be kind of like how Descent into Avernus was like a Spelljammer sort of take on how running through Descent into Avernus could work. I want to do the same thing with Storm King's Thunder. And fuck around with kaiju and like Gundams, D&D Gundams, using the ship mechanics that we have. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit. That's me, Mr. Rambler. But that's the idea for the. Here, let's move this one over here. That's the idea for the Mecha Kaiju book that we'll be building out, and then let's put you here and make that a little bit bigger. And that'll take us into probably like, I guess that'll probably be going on until April 2026, I reckon. And then once we finish the Mecha King's Thunder, who knows? Once we finish the Mecha King Thunder book, then we'll probably be in a place where we can start doing Guild Delver playtesting for the role-playing game that I've been building. We're still we're still running through that on a scale of 1 to 5, like 5 being the instead of levels we gain ranks. So, you know, big difference, right? But we're currently 3rd rank right now, and the goal is to run the team, my home team, through a full campaign from 1st to 5th rank. And once we finish running through that scenario, my home table is going to reassess. You know, do we want to take this from a different angle, or do we want to change the type of campaign that we're running? Because the Guild Delver format is really good for our lunchtime, because we typically have an hour to 75 minutes that we can spend per week playing, and the Guild Delver system is such a light mechanical system that you can have 4 players and a DM in a 1 hour lunch like actually make progress towards a game every week. So it's really fun. And it's super light narrative and very intuitive based and encourages improvisation and making up solutions instead of having rules dictate what what you can actually do. So it's a very system-like game that is it's a light team builder sort of game, which is perfect for coworkers. But I'll need to open it up to the table. Like I want to run it. Like I've only ran it in 1 hour bursts. I want to open it up so that I have 3 hour play tests with it, like an actual game, to see how well it holds up over time. But once I run through a full campaign with my home team, then I'll be able to open it up to more players and get third parties introduced into it and start messing around with it. But so that's on the horizon. And I'm not in a big hurry to get the thing out there. I'm still working on 5th edition stuff, and I have plenty of that stuff to work with. But this is just what's in the pipeline for folks that are that enjoy or that are able to participate in the games that I run on my Discord channel, or are interested, or their life changes and they have the opportunity to do so in the future. That's the kind of stuff that I've got lined up. And we're going to be keeping that stuff on Saturday, probably for the foreseeable, for the next year or so. I think we're going to be doing Saturday morning games like that. So once we get out of the mega dungeon, I'll start to be able to do Mage Tower stuff on Saturday mornings as prep for the actual Mage Tower games. I'll be able to start building out the mechanics of Storm King's Thunder for people to watch on Saturday mornings as well. We got a lot on our plate, and I'm rambling. Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate that, Tyler. There's no harm, no foul. It's just some weird time. I don't talk about my family a lot, privacy and stuff. But yeah, everything's good. It's just this week's a little scuttled. And that guy, that's pretty good. Here and then here. Good. How's your little monster doing, Tyler? There, like that. You know what? I owe Francois an undead raising a skull up. I'm going to take this spear and I'm going to shift it over to here, and I'm going to take the opportunity here with this guy. I'm going to raise his head up here because Francois wanted to have an undead holding its head above itself. And this seems like probably the best opportunity to do that. So we're going to do like this. Go like that. I need to move. I don't know where you are. I don't know which skull this is. I'm hunting for this skull right now. This one perhaps? Nope. It's around here somewhere. It's around here somewhere. Come on, my dude. Where are you at? Oy vey. We'll find you. We'll find you. You're around here somewhere. Oh my god, where the fuck are you, my dude? I want to get this going out of the way so I can work on the one in the background, but I can't find where this guy's hiding. Where are you at, my guy? There he is. Jesus, man. That's a lot of layers. It's a lot of Mai Tai. There we go. Here like that. 2 baby blankets earlier this month. I became a great auntie. Holy Hannah, Karen. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Just like that. Here like that. Let's do it like this. Let's get him. Let's get his shoulders. Let's move those out of the way so we don't have to worry about what that's doing. That's positioned correctly, so those are good. Now we're going to build out the shoulder frame here, and then we'll drop it down out of its skull. Aha, part of the pun. Put a dot here for where its clavicles come into effect. Like that. Here like this. And we can take the whole body like this and drop it down to here. So this becomes an anchor point here. Put the clavicles here. Oops. And we can take this whole assembly here and bring it up to here. Where's that other guy? Yes, yes. There we go. Yeah, cool. So this guy's in the back. That works now. Work is slowing now that the Super Bowl Sunday, Valentine's Day. I don't know what kind of work you do. I don't want to be too invasive, but it certainly sounds event related. Good coffee today. Holy Hannah twins, that's fantastic. Right on. What a nightmare for the parents. I have only known one set of twins, and that was way back when I was a little kid. We'll do like that. Bring in here. Yeah, for people that were around during the production of the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book, the third appendix, the 25-page conversion guide that we did for the Light of Xeraxis, that almost all of the assets, like virtually every asset in that whole appendix, was just tokens and maps for the and like diagrams for the Light of Xeraxis adventure itself. It didn't actually require any illustrations because there was so many tokens and assets that were visuals to facilitate the adventure itself. There wasn't really a need for additional illustrations. I mean, it probably could have benefited from them, sure. But each page was already filled up with assets that were needed to actually run the adventure. So there wasn't really a need for a whole bunch of additional, like, art is in there for catching mood and filling space. And to break up the page so the eye can rest from information that they're absorbing. And so charts, tables, maps, and illustrations serve that purpose of breaking up the text space. Huh, I feel like there was a time delay there. I feel like this is going to do me better for some reason. So I'm going to take this and put this over chat instead of the actual chat bot that we have in the OBS channel. OBS, I think, can like, if I'm multi-streaming, I don't know if OBS can multi-stream or not, honestly, but this allows us to drop down to here and raise this up. There. Now I should be on. Now I should be hopefully having. I don't know if there's a time delay there or not, but I'm trying to eliminate some if I can. Plus, I can zoom a little bit better. Make it a little bit easier for me to read. Oh, got it. Produce department. Right on. I'm surprised that the Super Bowl is such a produce industry thing. I don't really think about you know, fruits and stuff like that when I think about people watching the Super Bowl, but I'm happy to hear that's the case. There we go. That feels good. And then we have shoulder blades in here. We should pepper in like that. Where am I? Thank you. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we still got a... Yeah, we're still doing good. We still got time. We should probably get this back line resolved today. I'm gonna free transform and shift this a bit here like that. And then take this here. Like that. Good. Bring this in here. Knobby elbow bits. You know, fame, fortune, these are not important things. Having a stable home is actually what is important. And a lot of supermarket gigs are union jobs, so like they actually have worker rights and stuff, and that's actually really important for labor. There we go. I like that. I think that's looking really good. It's good enough anyway. There you go, buddy. There. And we'll just make sure we have that blended in well. There we go. And let's keep working on the rest of these dudes. This one can be reduced in size a bit. Drop him down there. We'll probably have like a really faint line back here of more undead back here as well, but we'll put in a separate layer for those. But I can see it, so it's reasonable to have that super far back line. That's basically just going to be darkened ovals, essentially. Like lesser becomes more as we move further and further back in the page. Yeah, fair enough. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Let's get... This is the problem here. like that. And then like that. And then like that. There we go. You know, they say the higher the pay of the job, the more you have to take your troubles home with you, or the less you can actually leave your job. I am not my job, so I can also appreciate having the ability just to walk away from it at the end of the day and just forget about it, not worry about it until I have to log in the next day and keep hammering away at the reality. But yeah, being able to walk away from it is worth not making stupid amounts of money. That money has collateral costs. Hey there, Timely Timer. Thank you for keeping time. Grab that. We can reduce the size of this dude a tick or two. That's about right here. There we go. And then I want to just gray this all out here because that's all going to get grayed out because of the fog effect. So I don't really need to have anything further down. And like this is all going to get, like all these little gaps in here, like this is going to get filled in with shade, you know, like shadow stuff and whatever. So at this point, we really are just kind of hinting at anatomy more than actually detailing it. Like that. There we go. Next. See, don't need a lot of detail on these. They're good. They're good. I feel like I'm leaning into my screen a little bit. Something feels physically off. There we go. Shift my seat around. Checking in with microphone. Yeah, microphone seems to be doing okay. There we are. It doesn't take a lot at this point. These backstage guys are just real, just hints. Because we did all the front load work, so the eye can just fill in gaps here in the back line of just knowing what these things are. So very worth the effort at the front end. Take that mask here, we'll drop it down here, and then again we can have just like very, very minimal hints in the furthest back. There's another one of these I want to do. There's another adventure, another Eberron adventure that I want to do. I don't know when I'm going to get around to doing it, but I have another adventure in Karnath that I want to do the same process with, and I'm honestly questioning whether I want to build it out for 5th edition, or if I want to make a system a system light version of it. I haven't decided yet. I because it's an Eberron, I might decide just to go with 5e mechanics and go with the same 16:9 format and have it be a little more 5e intensive. But yeah, I know I want to do at least one more adventure. And we'll see. We'll see where life takes me from there. But that probably won't be. God, that could be like 2027, 2028 that we do that. It'll be a while. It's going to be at least another year or so before I do another adventure like this, because this was such an intense effort. If I allow myself any more adventure scenarios, it'll probably be like 1-page dungeons or like lairs, something very light, low impact that won't eat a ton of time, because these things, for me at least, these things are real time intensive until I can crack the code on how to make them fast and easy, which I doubt I'll ever be able to do. Fast and easy isn't really my style. Grab these guys over here like that, and we can make them larger. There. And since we ran that mega dungeon for the martial power system, I'm kind of tempted just to make like to formalize the maps and release that as a thing, because it's something we're testing, you know. Hey, it's good to see you, Fox. But yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun to publish the mega dungeon that we're running. If everything goes the way I expect it to, from level 3 to 10, we should have about 24 zones that the team spirals down into the core of the earth with higher and higher CRs as we go down. And if I build it right, we should be able to have some fun faction interaction the further down we go, and a pretty wide variety of creatures that the team is going to fuck around with. And it should just make for a really fun. It should make just for a fun thing. And I don't see a lot of mega dungeons being published. There's a lot of adventure content that's put out there, but actual just like environments to mess around with like vague ideas, like here's what these guys have going on, and like all the depiction of all the rites of the torture cult temple that the team is messing around inside of. It'd be fun to kind of like build out the mythos that goes along with that, so that like a third-party DM that's running it, they have an idea of like what's going on with these different murals and statues and stuff that are in these rooms that the team are finding. It's fun. Mega dungeons is like their own creature, and it's an art that just isn't like Wizards just didn't pick it up. They kind of just let it die in 3rd edition and just kind of moved on with wherever the cultural zeitgeist is going, with more narrative, less exploration. That's really where the mega dungeon dwells, is in that adventure, in that exploration pillar. That's got a lot of like, I'd say a mega dungeon is probably like a good solid like 40% adventuring, 30% combat, 20% social, depending on and then that 20-30 split can shift up and down a lot depending on how many factions are present inside the dungeon at any given time. But the core of it is really is exploration. Where do we want to move? What do we want to look at? Are we looking for secret doors? Fucking around with traps. Securing areas to keep yourself from being flanked. These are all exploration ideas. Whether or not it's an ability check to resolve or not, it's the mentality that is really making that pillar stand out of methodical. Basically, methodical search and resolving logistics of your team, keeping themselves safe as they delve through this underground environment. So like on DMsGuild, you see like a lot of standard like a temple map or a cavern map or whatever. But then you have like Dyson that makes dungeon maps, but doesn't necessarily provide any key to what's going on with them. But first edition, like BECME and first edition and second edition D&D were just filled with mega dungeons. Or just dungeon, like, 3-4 level dungeons or whatever. Like mega is really just is sort of a mindset than a physicality. But there was like dungeon delving was like the central theme of old school D&D, and it's become sort of passé because it's such a trope. But the people that treat it tropey and passé haven't likely actually logged any time running a dungeon or running inside of a dungeon. It's more of like the idea is gauche, It's like, oh, that's droll. I'm going to instead develop the drama and harm of my character now. It's like that's back in the Mega Dungeon days. It's like you don't really have a backstory because it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter if you're the lost heir of the Kingdom of Blorg if you're going to be inside this dungeon for another 6 levels. It's like your hierarchy doesn't, like your Feld Prince idea doesn't really matter because everyone signed up to run a dungeon, so your backstory is irrelevant. It's more, how are you dealing with the situation at hand right now? You can come in with a personality and a background if you want to create default biases about how your character is going to treat things that are encountered in the environment, but it's all designed to be, how are you approaching the situation right now? What is your solution today for what you're actually having to deal with, instead of some hypothetical scenario that your character may or may not ever survive to get to see or have any relevance to the campaign. So older editions of D&D really de-emphasized the importance of like a character's personality. They were far more like, I like to say, characters are really just like control pads or like user interfaces for the players to engage the environment in a sort of escape room scenario where you just need to understand the environment and what is in it for you to manipulate, and what puzzles are you working on personally. Like, we need to delve down to the next level, but we need to make sure that we can keep this area safe when we do it. So what can we do to secure this area so that we don't have to worry about being flanked as we explore new areas? Like, that's the puzzle that you're dealing with a lot of the time in these dungeons. And that doesn't really, you don't need a background for that. You just need good dungeon delving instincts, and you don't get those until you run dungeons often enough to build those instincts with. So it's a different sort of creature, and acquiring those skills will always be relevant for a player, for the player themselves. Like I'm in a Curse of Strahd campaign right now, and the team just got attacked by a pack of wolves. There's a wolf pack that's attacking the town that the team has been hanging out in, and there was a wolf attack. So while the players were in transition to the town, it got attacked by wolves, and when they got there, the town was dealing with the aftermath of that, and there was a number of wolves that had been killed by the guards during the attack, and so they were in the process of burning the bodies of the wolves and like skinning them and stuff like that. And so my question was, I want to check out the wolves. It's like they seem like normal wolves. It's like, well, I want to see if there's like any kind of marks on them or any kind of beads or collars or anything like that on them. And the DM's like, give me a check. Yes, in their fur, there's been woven these talismans with markers on them, and you recognize the marker as part of this tribe that hangs out in the woods that we suspected were lycanthropes. So it's like they have. So this was a like a fetish that they put on each of the animals, and my character has clairvoyance. So I can use those fetishes as a clairvoyance target for me to find where that tribe is at. And me thinking that way, I attribute to problem-solving skills developed inside of dungeon environments for 20 some odd years of gaming. And I've been running games for like 40 years, but I've also been, before I became a forever DM, like the first 20 years of my gaming career was a mix of playing and DMing, and so I developed a lot of investigation instincts around like the way that DMs will word things. You can hear it as a player. You can kind of have this meta going on of listening to what words are used or aren't used in the descriptions of something that can trigger you as a veteran player to think I think there's something going on here by the language that the DM was using. It feels fidgety. So there's something here for me to dig into. And I think good DMs intentionally use fidgety language that kind of creates a sense of doubt. Because if you pick up on it, it's going to make you want to pull on that thread a little bit more. So good DMs play good players well because they can get them to explore ideas with vague language, like purposefully vague language. And it's kind of a meta cat and mouse between DMs and players like that, and I think that's fantastic, but you can't really pick up on that stuff unless you've had enough time in a narrative game space. And Dungeons, I think, is the best way to train those skills because it's enclosed environments with a high frequency of danger and activity. The rooms might take only 10 or 15 minutes to process each if there's stuff to explore inside of them before moving on to the next thing. You get pretty efficient at thinking, like how to think through scenarios or how to resolve clues, exploring spaces, blah, blah, blah. And those are all skills that you have to develop like muscles, right? So, and I think our team does a pretty good job at processing rooms and encounters and moving from area to area. And the only real slowdowns ever seem to crop up when there's a decision, like a forking decision point about like how are we weighing our options going one direction or another, narratively or physically. And that's great. I like those as a DM. I like those moments of slowing down when the team is basically logicking through how they're choosing to commit their own resources of time and actual character resources. Like how do we want to spend our time here? What do we think we're going to make the most progress with? What do we think we can handle? What can we do safely? What's our next move? And I love that deliberation. As a DM, I think that's great because it just the players when the players deliberate and choose a direction, they are taking ownership of that decision. And whether it ends up being good or bad, there's that degree of agency that the players have of we're making the decision about what happens next. And you're not just going down a roller coaster ride of here's what's next, and here's what's next, and here's what's next. It's like, here's where you're at, what do you want to do? And then the team can take ownership of that. And depending on what that decision is, can completely change the course of the rest of the adventure for that session. And I love that. That's that improvisation. Like once the rule is to create enough of a scenario that you know how all of the factions and elements inside of the game environment are going to react to the characters, what their natural response would be to whatever it is the character's presence implies. And then once you have a basic understanding of what all those things are, then as a DM you just wait for them to do it, and then you're just basically playing jazz. You're just having the dungeon and the factions of the dungeon respond to the decisions that the players are making. And at that point, the DM doesn't care what their decisions are, because you already know, like, here's like 5 or 6 different things that could happen which one is the team angling towards to lean into? And for the DM, that's fun. That's the fun of it, is breathing life into this environment that you create, and then seeing what do the players do to interact with it and to make it their own. It's the players' decisions that breathes life into what the world becomes. And a well-ran campaign is going to be reactive and proactive towards what the players are doing, and that creates a sense of consequences for the players, which means that when they make decisions, they recognize that this is actually impacting the world. So now they have a sense of ownership and agency in the game environment, where they become more committed to the answers, to the solutions that they come up with, because they are going to see that there's actual consequences to their actions. And that's I think the magic of what role-playing games really is allowing players to have that sense of agency and impact in the world, when most of us have jobs or lives where we don't feel like we have much impact of anything. So role-playing games is an opportunity for us to be able to appreciate and feel the stability of the life that we have around us, and to be able to step out of it. What time is it? 7:50. I've got 5 minutes. I can fuck around with skeletons a few more minutes. Yeah, we'll put in a little bit more time. But yeah, the more agency you can have in your hobbies and your fantasy world, the more you're willing to see the good of stability that's created for the life you have outside of the game. And if you want to show up to the game every week consistently, then you need to build a stable life for yourself. So it's like, yeah, I know I'm going to be free on Saturday, because my life isn't chaotic. I can make that commitment for myself, and I want to, because I want to hang out with these players more. That's the idea anyway. That's what I've seen. Like that's a good team. That's healthy. That's a good, healthy team that is relying on each other and is making commitments to each other to be someplace at some time. And again, with the way that Western society is evolving, it's like we move away from that idea of that commitment to each other and of time. Anyway, that's some of my thoughts. That's shit I think about. Text? What's going on? Hey, Incanado, what up, man? When you spin through... Exactly. You get it, man. Welcome to the mix. Again, it's key to exploring and tactics. Yes. Bob has feelings, too. Yes, of course, ghouls have feelings. Foxtrot, I gotta say the Gruul passive feature for the Gruul background of allowing one short rest with a guaranteed not being interrupted per session. If this was a longer game, I think that would probably play out really, really well. But I liked seeing that mechanic at work. I'd forgotten that that's how we were treating Gruul for the Mega Dungeon, and I fucking loved it. I thought that was great. Like that meta level of interacting with the environment. I just think as a DM and as a game designer, I geek out on that kind of stuff. And I really like seeing that there. So I would definitely, I would want to think about other ways to lean into specific like background, like dungeon delving backgrounds, to be able to have similar resource manipulation. But I'm not thinking of any easily. It's just that was the lowest hanging fruit, and it made the most sense for Gruul to have it. I just liked it. I thought it was fun. Flophouse all day, every day. Shit, my computer froze up. I'm gonna have to hit save here real quick. I've still got like 5 minutes left on the board. So you can see here, up here, it says saving equals 0%. It's not moving. And the saving bar down here isn't moving either. There it goes. Now it's starting to move. Cool. We might have... No, see, it's still locked up. I can't move anything. So I'm going to have to kill that and then relaunch it. OBS software for the streaming and Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Suite doesn't necessarily interact with each other nicely all the time. There's like a... Cool. Everything got saved. Yeah, that's good. And this guy looks pretty good. But yeah, we stream 10 times per week, Monday through Friday. In the morning like this, we do artwork for about an hour or so. This week's going to be a little bit weird. I'm going to have a late lunch stream, like at 4 o'clock Seattle time here at the end of the day today, for probably a 2-hour kick of working on the Bastion campaign supplement. I won't be on this evening. It's just personal life is just a little off schedule this week, so I'm going to be on tomorrow night. I'm never on Tuesday nights, but I will be this week. Just a change in schedule. It's just for this week alone, but there's some weird friend family stuff going on here. That's atypical. So I'm going to have an evening stream tomorrow night. We'll have Thursday night like normal as well. We should have. I don't think I'm going to have Tuesday lunch tomorrow, but we should have from like maybe 4 till 6 tonight, Seattle time, 4 till 6 after work. We should be able to be on for a couple hours. We'll work on the Bastion campaigns. We'll work on Bastion campaigns tomorrow night as well. That guy looks pretty good. So we're gonna have to like this one, and probably this one. We'll have to drop maybe this one. We're gonna have to drop the opacity on these a bit to make them a little bit more washed out to match that further back line. But we're almost done with these skeletons across the board. We're making good progress today. I'm happy with this. So we're gonna see this piece done in the next couple of days. And then we'll move on to the artifacts on the rest of the page. There we go. So many skeletons. So many dead. It's hard. Mostly it's just for player interaction with each other, but you are right. It's hard to have a background that would have real impact to a dungeon crawl. Yeah. That's why the Tracy Hickman, Margaret Weiss, Ravenloft / Dragonlance Chronicles was such a paradigm shift in second edition, away from the mega dungeon. It was like who your character is and what their personality was didn't matter at all until you started getting into these campaign story arcs where there's an actual story arc that was pre-written and scripted. So Weiss and Hickman did a lot to progress the idea of what role-playing games could be, but at the same time, they started tearing down the foundations of what it was built upon. You can't run a story-driven campaign and have a progressively generated exploration campaign. You have to break them into pieces. Like you have to separate. They don't use the same gear. Like you shift gears from one type of campaign to another, and those are decidedly different gears in the drive of your campaign. So it's difficult to make them like you can have a story-driven campaign, but you have to put it on hold while you're in the mega dungeon. If you're having a mega dungeon campaign, you kind of step away from your character's identity and focus more on reacting to and impacting the environment that you're actually navigating through here and now. And you can go out of your way to like have the factions in your dungeon be relevant to a character's backstory, but it doesn't necessarily change that you're still going to be digging through this dungeon. And if that's what your team signs up for and ultimately enjoys doing, they don't focus on their character's backstory as much because it's just not necessary information. It doesn't have any actual relevance on how the adventure gets conducted. So it's dead information, and like everything else in this universe, if it isn't necessary, it atrophies because it doesn't get any attention. It just naturally erodes. The detail erodes because there's no attention being paid to it. It's not being fostered or have additional health breathed into it. So, but hey, that's my alarm. I am technically done for the day, so I'm going to kick out of here. And I'm going to be back at 4 o'clock here, Seattle time. That's going to be in about 8 o'clock here, 4 o'clock, 8 hours from now. I'll be back on for a couple hours. 8 hours from now, we're going to continue working on the Bastion campaign, fleshing out the details of the different facilities and how they affect orders. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on this piece. So if anyone wants to get updates of when I'm up and at 'em, okie doke, like, subscribe, bell icons, notifications, etc., etceteras. Now we can just leave that guy like that. Yeah, and then we'll have like another just very faint silhouette past this line of scrimmage here. Like how these are. These are very, very vague. Like that's the level of depth I want to end up at. And this guy, he's rising. Obviously, he's literally rising above the horde, but he doesn't seem out of scale anymore. He's still that still feels about appropriate for where he's at in the mass. So I'm pretty happy with that. Fuck, I'm pretty happy with this piece overall. It's taken a while for us to build it, but I'm really happy with it, and it's been fun doing it, and we've got to talk about a shitload of stuff in the process. So it's time. I think it's been time well spent. So anyway, I'm going to bounce out of here for now. Yeah, thanks a lot, Karen. It's good to have you around. Thanks a lot, everyone. And in Komodo, cool to have you swing by and say hi. Thanks a lot. I'll see everybody in the future. Cheers.